Hello and good evening. This is the second attempt I've done at this because unfortunately I forgot to record the microphone on the first go. This tutorial is going to be a quick run through of getting set up in Vortex Tracker, how to generate some samples, some ornaments, some patterns, putting them on order. Some information about the GUI, the interface, how to use it, and some of the tricks or best practices that I've picked up, having used it for a while now. Vortex Tracker 2, Sega Bulba, fantastic tracker for Windows. It's been updated by a couple of people. The one version I'm using is called the RC2. It's available on GitHub. I'm sure you already got it. So let's get started. One of the first things I like to do, unfortunately because Vortex doesn't seem to save settings when you exit, you have to kind of reset your settings each time. So one of the things that we need to make sure is AY selected. And then we go into the options and we go to chip emulation. We ensure the ZX spectrum is selected, and we also ensure that the ZX spectrum is selected on the chip frequency. The next thing that I like to do is to enable these three options down here. This is so we see numbers in decimal rather than hexadecimal. Makes it easier for me to work out where I am. And then normally this is set to 11, but we're going to set this to 28. That's how many rows within the pattern we can actually see. And I also like to make the font slightly larger, so I've set this to 14. So let's do a new window. So there we go, we can see our pattern. This is our work area. One of the other small things that I've actually done is adjusted the highlighting colour. And this is done within the window part and the highlight background. We can select green if we want to, and this is just kind of a ruler, a guide, help you work out where you are, help you work out quickly how things are going to sound. If we imagine a 4 on the floor, a kick drum every fourth beat, so dum 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 dum, that will kind of give you a rough idea of where you need to put your hi-hats and all bits and bobs like that. We'll just quickly go through some of the interface. Now, if you don't know what a tracker is basically a program that uses a collection of samples and effects on those samples, and then they are recorded within what's called a pattern. And a pattern can be any length, but by default it's 64 notes long, as you can see here. So you have channel A, B, and C. The maximum we can play at once is 3 different samples. This is due to the limitation of the chip itself. If you play a sample and then another one, it will cut the previous note off. And then what we have is pattern arrangement. So then we choose which order the pattern's playing. So this is the pattern arrangement within Vortex Tracker. If we're currently on pattern 0, which is here, I mean they're all currently empty, we need to put some stuff in. But if we wanted to make a quick arrangement, we could start with pattern 0 and then we select the next one. I press 1 on the keyboard, that will play pattern 1, and then pattern 2, and then pattern 3, and so on and so forth. Quite easy to arrange. I'll just remove these because we don't need them in there for now, so we're just going to press delete on the keyboard. That'll take us back, clear everything out. I usually like to work in speed 5 or 6 is my favourite. If you need some quick note action, then 3 is the best way to go. This is the current octave that notes are going to be entered into the pattern with. This is the auto step function. This will skip how many notes is selected in here. So if we were putting in some kick drums, you might want to set that to 4 and then click auto step, and then it would jump from every 4 notes. These are the current channels. All of them are currently enabled. We can mute individual ones, such as so on. This represents play tone on the channel, noise, and then apply envelope. Generally, unless you're doing anything advanced, you're going to keep this set like that. This is auto envelope. This is for more advanced bass sounds. We'll do that in another tutorial. We need to get to the grips of what we're doing. So now we know what the pattern is. We need to put some notes in there. So let's go to the samples. If we have a look here, we can see there's nothing in here yet. You'll notice this test field looks very much like this first row or any row. This is basically the note you're going to play, the octave it's going to play in, the sample that you're going to play, the envelope. If we use F, it clears the envelope, which is what we'll be doing throughout this tutorial. The next one is the ornament that we will apply to that sample, and then the volume. Then we've got 4 more, which is set aside for special effects, tone up, tone down, portamento, and other bits and bobs. But we're going to keep it quite simple. So first of all, we need a sound that we can pass as a bass sample. So in here, I'm going to use the mouse. I'm going to draw the amplitude of a nice bass looking sound. Let's say that's the bass sound. What we also need to do is, in this column here, this represents whether tone's turned on or noise or envelope. With a bass note, we just want pure tone. We don't want any noise, we don't want any envelope. And this is, I think it's tone bend as well. We'll use that in a moment when we create some drum samples. If we do have the noise option selected, this is the coarseness of the noise, and this is basically the level of volume that we can see there, so we can see it going down. So we've drawn the amplitude, we've made sure that all the T's are on, all the N's are off, and all the E's are off. So if we go into the test field, and then I'm just going to use the keyboard, I'm going to use the keys Q, W, E. So it sounds reasonable enough. I probably want to come down a couple of octaves because that's too high. So I'm going to use my my keypad on my keyboard. So I'm going to press the number 3, brings it down to D. I can also use the keys Z to M, which will play lower. Yeah, that's not too bad, but as you can see, when I hold the key down, it does a loop. We don't want that on this particular sample, so let's reduce the loop size, and what we're going to do is put it right at the end of the sample, like so. And that's reasonable enough. We'll probably put just a slight bit of bend in there as well. So we'll do the 3s, maybe actually 2 and 1. So I'm just using the keys, the cursors, and I'm then using the numbers just to change these values. I'm going to have 2 3s up and 2 3s down, 2 3s up, 2 3s down, just to kind of give it a little bit more of an interesting sound. Probably not so audible. Yeah, but I think it is. So now we've got a bass sample. Brilliant. Next we will want a sound which is maybe more like for a melody. So let's draw the amplitude again. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'll probably want a loop sample on this one, so I'm going to draw the amplitude like that, and then I'm going to set the loop to be between this area. So let's just, I think we've got everything off. Yeah, so let's try yeah, that's not too bad. Again, we're going to add some pitch bend in there. I'm going to start off with like this, putting some minuses in, some variation. There we go, we've got a little wobble on there, that will do for now. So let's go back to the main pattern. Let's enter some bass notes in here. So let's go back to our original bass sound. So let's see. Perfect, so we'll use that one. So I want to use auto step as well, so I'll enable that for now. So we'll enter some notes on the keyboard. Oops. I actually want them slightly closer than that, so we'll put that to 2. So let's play that pan back. That's reasonable enough. To jump back to the top of the pattern, I can press Control and Home on the keyboard, or Control and N to get to the bottom, so we can do that quite easily. Some of the controls that I've not yet mentioned is up here. This is the playback controls, so we've got to play the song. It'll play it from wherever you are, so if we're on position 12, carry on from there. This will play the song from where it starts. This will play the pattern again from wherever we are in the pattern. This will play it from the top. This will set up a loop, and this will set up loop all. So if we wanted to play the pattern, so let's turn the loop off. Let's make sure we pipe in our sample settings here. Let's turn auto step off. So we want sample 1, envelope off, we'll leave the ornament blank, and then we'll put the volume as F. And that will mean every note after this will inherit those settings, which is perfectly fine for what we're doing. So now let's think about maybe a drum sound of sorts. So let's go to a fresh sample. I'm going to use A, just because it gives us room to create more samples and for the melody if needs be. And let's have a look. So let's think of a drum amplitude. So drums kind of quick and short. And what we are going to do is we're going to do some heavy bending on this. So let's do 1C0, let's do 180, let's do 280, then 380, then maybe 440, and then 480. Well, let's bring it up a little bit. So 480. We don't want a loop, so let's move that down there. So you can hear a little click. That's because we haven't got the tone on for the first one. That's reasonable enough. What we'll do as well is I'm going to copy it to number 11. So now we're on 11. Okay, so what we need there, if we call that one our kick drum, we want this one to be a snare. We need to enable the noise channel. So we'll right click on the ends. There we go. It's reasonable enough. We can affect the coarseness by adding in a value here. So let's put some Fs in, see what we get. It's quite crunchy, probably slightly too crunchy. Let's tail off maybe. That's alright, not too bad. And then we'll copy that one to 12. And we'll turn off the tone for this particular one because we want this like a hi-hat. Ooh, that's terrible. That's really too coarse. So let's mute them out, and let's make the sample shorter as well. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's alright. It will do for the purpose of this demonstration. So we're going to put the drums into channel C. We're going to do, it's going to be 4 on the floor, so every 4th beat. So let's set our auto step to 4. I'm only going to do 16 notes, and then I'm going to copy and paste. So when we first enter the notes, is where you're going to notice that it's using the default sample, but we'll change that. So let's go back here, and it's sample A. Let's just turn off auto step for a moment. It's sample A, F and F. So now let's play that part. That's not too bad. I probably might want to move up an octave. So we've got 4 on the floor. Let's do that all the way through. Okay, so let's just put that all the way through. No, I said I was only going to do the first 16, but we're just going to have an example. Right, okay, so that's definitely 4 on the floor. Let's add in our hi-hat now, so it's sample B. Let's turn off our auto step because that's going to get annoying. B, F, F. Let's just check. There's BFF. So bum tish. There's BF and BFF. And we might also want to add in our hi-hat, which is the next one. So it'll be C, F, F. So to there, yeah. So now we've got 16. Let's listen. Oh, hang on a minute. Why can't we hear this one? Let's have a look. It actually should be. Let's just mute that. Right, okay, I can't hear sample B. Let's have a look. So. It's definitely there. BFF. BFF. Oh. Okay, I had a slight problem there. We couldn't hear the snare sample, so I had to copy it to a blank one and then copy it back. Now it seems to be okay, so that's sorted. So bum tish bum. Turn off the auto step again. So bum tish. Lovely. Bum tish. And then what we'll do is we'll select the first 15 notes, we'll copy, and then we'll click where we want to paste. It's going to be position 16. We'll paste there, then we'll do position 32, we'll paste there, and then we'll choose position 48 and paste there. Let's listen to that. We're not going to win any groundbreaking music production competitions just quite yet. Probably can do something with the samples here. Let us add that to another snare. Maybe let's add another kick at a slightly lower volume. And one of the other keys that you can use in the editor is to play just a small section. Just hold down return. As you can see there, I just played that bit that we needed. So that's pattern 0. Now let's add some slight melody in there, make it slightly more interesting. First of all, let's make a copy of the whole pattern. So I'm going to copy all that. I'm going to use Control and C on the keyboard this time. I'm going to go to pattern 1, and then I'm going to paste in there. So now we want to go back to our earlier samples. Let's pick this one. I want one that's more of a piano key. Let's make sure they're all on tones. Don't want any loops. That's not too bad. Let's put some wibble wobble on. Wibble wobble. Definitely. Okay. Let's go for my favourite, which is on every offset. So I'm just going to put in there auto step 4. Dink. Ding 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 ding. Now I'm going to match the bass. Oops. Okay, let's have a little listen. Right, okay, these two are very, very similar, so we need to go higher. Not to our pattern, sorry. problems that we have within a 3-channel tracker is that it's quite difficult to do chords. So the way that we get around that is we implement something called ornaments. Ornaments will play a bass note and then a number of keys off from that bass note, so we can go up and go down. So if we were to choose C, this would play the C note, and then we could do a major chord. And anyone who knows how chords work is that on your piano you have your, for a normal major, C, and then E, C, E and G. And let's work out the offsets. It'll be 4, 3. So C is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 0, 4 and 7 will give us a major. 0, 3 and 7 will give us a minor. So let's go back to our ornaments. So let's do our major first. So we're going to put in 4 notes off and 7 notes off, and then we do want to loop it. That will give us our major, and then our minor will do the same thing. Obviously you can get quite creative in this area in that you could do 5th, 7ths, all sorts. You've got room for a very extensive sequence in here. So now we've got our ornament. Again, this is the how we're going to make sure this is when the sample's played that it's implemented. So that's sample 1, envelope F, ornament number 2 or ornament number 1, and then the volume. So let's pop that in here. So let me ring a bell. It's sample 3 that we want to use. So we'll put in a 3 here. Turn auto step off. We want to clear the envelope. We want the major chord, and volume can be F. So if we give that a play now, that's not too bad. It would be nice to be a bit more rhythmic, so let's see what we can do without going too complex. We can just probably double note that. Double note. Actually, that's not going to work. C, 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 C. What you can do as well, which is just get the rhythm for the first bit. That sounds rubbish, so dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Right, so we'll use that rhythm. Again, I'm just going to recopy to note 15. I'll slap it over the top here, 32. Slap it over the top. We know the chord notes that we need to be changing to, so after 16 it'll be G's, and then G's, and then some F's, the magic chords. Let's carry on doing that, and then that should have been G, sorry. And that one. So that's our basis of this current pattern. So let's play it. So that's our basic pattern set up. Let's use this now, what we've got, and just make a very quick arrangement. So I'm just going to copy the whole pattern. I'm going to go to pattern 2 and paste it in there. I'm going to clear out the middle channel, and I'm going to clear out the third channel as well, channel C. So all I've got is the bass notes. And then I'm going to put in our pattern editor, I'm going to put play number 2, I'm going to press 2 on the keyboard, 2 on the keyboard. Then I probably want something slightly different, so I'm going to copy this one again. I'm going to go to pattern 3. I'm going to paste that in there, and I probably just want the kick drum here. So let me remember it's kick drum. It's sample A. So let's get that kick drum in place. We've got to remember that we need to set the sample here. And what we might do is bum bum. There we go. And let's have a snare. So let's listen to that. That sounds reasonable. So we'll do a 3, 3, and then let's go for the folking kit, which is pattern 1. So that's our arrangement. It'll play 2 pattern 2s, 2 pattern 3s, then pattern 1. So let's click and play from start. Okay, so there's a very basic track. Once you have got to this stage, you might realise that actually I've run out of space for things. This is where you have to start getting creative. I mean, if we wanted to have the chord sound along with the drums, there's various ways we could think about squeezing it all into one. An obvious one would be to copy paste the chord in there. Oops, I'm going to press undo for that one. I'm not quite sure what I did. Turn auto step off so we don't bounce all over the show. So I've copied that. I'm going to paste it in there. Let's have a look. So kick, slide, kick. So basically I'm going to add in the chord anywhere where there's not a predominant kick drum. So anything that is a C, I will be happy to override. Let's copy the G. Again, I'll do the same here. That's a kick drum, so I'm not going to override that. You can have that one. You can have that one. Same with here. So let's have a look. Only on the C's I'm going to only override. And then the same with the G. So that's so we'll probably squeeze one in there as well. And then we can probably clear out channel 2 or pattern channel B. So now we've got the melody, the chord progression mixed in here. There is ways to, if we listen to that channel again, if you listen to the channel again, you can hear that we've taken out there's a missing hi-hat now, but there is a way that you could kind of re-implement that. So if we look at number 3, which is our sample 3, which is the one that we're using for the chord note, which is here, we can apply some noise to it. Let's not have too much. So it could give back some of the effect